All right, meeting order. You here, down for legislation. I pledge Yeah, small road. We aren't to adopt the agenda.
I'll move to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we've been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Let's move on. Yeah, that's right. All right, do we have any discussion about the agenda? So I've lost my,
I'm sorry.
yeah, okay.
Any questions of consent agenda?
I did have a question about the MOU contract with Dr. Angela Brooks.
Yeah.
It's just a very vague MOU, so if you wouldn't mind just giving
Yeah,
us
so
context.
what Dr. Brooks is doing is she's working with Monument Elementary, who's one of our schools under school improvement, and she's working them on as an improvement consultation with their leadership team, specifically around restorative justice practices and PBIS practices with students with disability, because that's the area that they're primarily focused on.
Thank you.
So there's several trainings that she'll be doing with that staff as part of their improvement efforts. Yeah, so the Aussie grant.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I had a slight question in the equity of action and leadership. And it says, the essential question, how do we eliminate barriers and increase access to support each student? And I still feel that we need to be able to teach our English students Spanish if we want to make this an equal move for them in their future if they're going to stay locally. You can't get a job unless you can speak Spanish.
Okay.
Look at your clinics, look at our schools in the front offices, we need to be able to give them the same possibility to get this job without.
So the good news is we started just recently having some initial conversations in the school district about dual language programs. And part of Victoria's report that she'll be giving later on will involve dual language and how we're thinking about that as a district.
Because it's really
It is very important to us as a district. In fact, in 2019, we did a big analysis of what would be the next move after reconfiguration. The next change would be a dual language program.
And then in accounts payable, we had bought 74, I believe, I guess it was 71 in September computers. And then in October, we bought another 74.
Years, which
That's what it states in accounts payable.
I think that's.
If you give me that number, I can look that up.
Yeah, I
can answer to you.
I can get back on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just was surprised that we'd separate it unless it was more cost effective.
Or it's
Why
cheaper
we needed
budget lines.
so many more.
Yeah, we can look into that.
Okay. And I have a QAA agreement. There was so much in there that I didn't really catch on to as far as what this was all about.
So the QAA, that's our athletics and our activities contract. And with that, we've extended it 1 year. We would like to get that, it's on the same rotation as our secretaries and QEA. We wanted to get that off of that 3-year rotation, so we're not bargaining all the contracts at once. So QAA has agreed to a 1-year only contract. We've done a small salary increase. The biggest change to this contract that we did was to our drama program. And the work that our drama department is putting in far exceeded what they were previously getting in the stipend. So that's the other change that was made. So those are the biggest changes that were made. And then a small increase to our middle school ASB. But those were the three. And then it'll be a full opener next year with Quincy Athletics or Activities Association. So those are the changes.
I have no further questions. Anybody else?
No questions.
Does anybody want to pose?
Move to adopt the consent agenda.
Second. Move to second to adopt the consent agenda. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay.
No time for the main event. No time for the main event,
Yeah.
so why we're all gathered here today. So, if the board would like, there's a green packet in front of you, and I'll kind of walk you through the packet. The schedule is on the board agenda, and we'll start early, so we can start a bit early. There's a couple things. There's interview team norms, so we are interviewing for a board, position. So there's multiple things to keep in mind while we're interviewing people. And this interview team norm document is the basic guidelines of how we should conduct ourselves in an interview, but also during executive session. So if you don't mind just taking a review of this and then just signing that you have received and reviewed the interview team norms. And if you have any questions about it, you can ask here.
It says it's highly confidential, however, here we are,
In deliberations when we're in executive session.
the interview process is highly confidential. Discussed during the interview process and deliberations. Oh, I see. Well,
Yeah, that's
the
during the,
interview process to me would
during-
say,
during the deliberation process. Let me clarify
okay,
that.
well,
Yeah.
we should clarify that.
Is this the generic?
Yeah, it's our
uses
generic
for
district
regular?
one.
Yeah, that's understandable. But certainly can be good.
And then just for your reference in the packet too is the application materials for each one of the candidates, if you want to go back and review those later. In the other side, we have interview questions. And then with each interview questions, there's a rubric just corresponding. You score the candidates' responses. You can use the reference as a guide. It's a head in the heart type of a thing. You know, it's not necessarily set in stone. They have to score them this way. It's really how you feel they did on that particular, and then a total. And then even that total, when you rate them at the end, that sometimes maybe the candidate with the highest score could be your number one. Maybe they'll be your number two. It really depends how you feel the candidates did. So again, it's not a black and white score necessarily, if that makes sense. The rubric's just there as a guide to kind of, this is what we're looking for, what the board should be looking for in the responses. And then that's about it. Any questions about the process?
No, what is the
Really?
the list that we're following?
Yep.
Okay,
And then we can, one person can ask all the questions. We can go down the row and work back however the board would like to do that.
I think let's take turns.
I'll take it down, come back here.
Sound good?
And then we need to stay to the scripted questions or can you first?
So that's what you can ask follow-up questions if they relate to the question.
Okay.
Clarifying, but don't add questions to the list. If we add, we have to then ask to all the people. Just to make it fair.
Sure, got it, understood.
Got it?
Hey, Austin, you're first.
Thanks again.
The first question we have is to ask you to tell you about yourself, your interests, any experience on policy boards and involvement in the community and school activity.
I graduated from Quincy High School in 2013. I did 2 years of Running Start at Bridgehead Community College, so 2011, 2013. So I graduated with my AA and my high school diploma in 2013. After that, I went to Spokane and then Nome, Alaska. So that was about 5 years. So I did my bachelor's and master's in education at Whitworth University in Spokane, and came back in 2018 and was hired as a high school English teacher at Quincy High School. And I worked for Quincy High School from 2018 to 2023 and had an amazing time working at the high school, primarily with grades 10 and 11. And also was a youth advisor for Youth Action Interact, which is under the umbrella of Quincy Partnership for Youth. So a community organization focused on prevention efforts locally for the town and community of Quincy. So that's kind of my local. And then I had an opportunity I couldn't turn down to manage the Moses Lake Public Library with NCW Libraries. So that's where I've been for the past year. NCW Libraries covers 5 counties here in North Central Washington, so still very much embedded within Grant County and the greater community. So that's in terms of policy, I am on a statewide gifted association called Northwest Gifted. And I primarily help them with like their newsletter and local advocacy for parents. I also serve on the Washington Association for Educators of the Gifted. It's called WATAG on their advocacy committee. And I also serve on the Washington Library Association with their advocacy committee. So very heavily involved with advocacy work statewide for libraries, for gifted education programs within public schools. And yeah, just always looking for opportunities to stretch and challenge myself while being a voice for parents, families, and students that we serve. So.
I have so many questions, but I'll stick to script. Describe the major strengths of the Quincy School District.
Yeah, I would say Quincy School District is kind of this shining light within Central Washington for schools and has the great strength of being a place that families can grow and know that their students are going to have successful and amazing opportunities. So going back to that, opportunities unlimited for the city and area of Quincy. I would say as an educator, more recently within Quincy, I probably know a lot of those strengths a lot better than many who have graduated over the years, seeing where they've been. We have a beautiful high school campus. There's some great improvements done to the local schools. So just seeing a lot of opportunity for future growth, and Grant County, just in general, there's so much opportunity. So I think just looking at student numbers, it is just drastically increased over the years from when I graduated in 2013. So I'm excited to see the future and where it goes. So I'm proud to be a Quincy Jack and would love to offer service in a different way than as a teacher.
Describe the major challenges of the Quincy School District.
I think with that growth comes the growing pains. The high school campus was beautiful and built in 2019. My first year as an employee, I was at the old high school. And then for the next 4 years at the new school. I will say that while it wasn't perfect, the staff really has the commitment to make it better for the students and families that they serve. And so I think that goes back to one of the strengths, though, even though it is a challenge with the growth that we're experiencing, it's also a great opportunity to make things better. And you can't make things better without that journey. So really focusing in on getting the community feedback and putting that into practice when feasible. And so I just would hope that we see a tale of caution with districts around us like Moses Lake. And me working Moses Lake, I see the struggles that their school district is currently undergoing. And so I think just financial and fiscal responsibility would remain like key. That way we can actually continue to provide those successful experiences for the kids and their families, as well as for our staff. Couldn't do it without them.
Can you describe your experience, training, and interest? Describe how your experience, training, and interest can contribute to the improvement of the Quincy School District.
Definitely, yeah, I would say, a helpful perspective would be that of somebody who has a lot of experience within public education. I'm very familiar with policy at the state level and have done some work nationally as well. So, I would, also hope that my track record and resume has shown that I have a heart for community advocacy and volunteering. I've been volunteering heavily since I was in elementary school, starting off at the George Community Hall in George, Washington, all the way through college and various experiences. So I'm not shy of a challenge. I definitely rise to the occasion, and that was ingrained in me by my parents and by my upbringing here in the Quincy School District. So that servant or service leadership, going back to like the senior projects that we had back in the day as well. So having that experience when I was a junior in high school before my senior year, volunteering at the Quincy Library, and look where I'm at now. So it is a journey that connects, and highlighting those opportunities for our learners here could prove to be that future career goal or an opportunity that they weren't aware of within themselves. So, did I always think I would be a librarian? No, but my journey has put me there at this time. And in part, that is thanks to the Quincy School District and Quincy High School and the community support we have here, which is a great strength.
You can.
Back in the year.
Okay.
Number 5.
Identify any commitments which might prevent you from attending regularly scheduled meetings, participating in workshops, reviewing study materials, or being an active member of the Quincy School Board District Board of Directors.
Yeah, I do typically work Monday through Friday, 9 to 6 at the Moses Lake Public Library. However, I can make the Tuesday board meetings, which I believe are typically around 5:30, with some slight adjustments to my schedule. So that would not be a permanent issue. It would just be based on whether I have this opportunity.
And you feel you'll have time to just read all of the agenda.
I am a gifted reader.
Oh,
I
Imagine it's a
English
Your wheelhouse.
I can read really quickly and very successfully, so I will say that's my biggest strength.
That's good. It's not fine, but I get it done.
Yeah. So I'm not concerned about the reading, though I have seen and heard of the reading that you all have to do, so thank you for that.
Do you have any questions for us?
I would just, I guess, ask what you are looking most for in a board member, and yeah, that's, yeah, what quality are you most looking for?
Well, loaded, really simple question.
Yeah.
It's a really simple question to answer. Go ahead.
Okay. Mine is just leadership. Not afraid to challenge the board or the district or whoever if you believe there has to be a change. But do it in a manner that I have not. I have trouble finding time for the communications necessary ahead, and I'd like to know that you find that time. I think those are the two strongest.
I think more people that are collaborative, that are willing to work with us together to move the change forward. I think we've done a good job of that to this point. So.
Yeah, just like what they say, team. There's that.
That's pretty simple.
Sure. Yeah,
If that's it.
thank you, sir. The next candidate.
Our next candidate, David Camino.
He is
Is he?
here till 6. 10th, so. we've
Oh,
got a
okay.
time.
Oh,
We're running early. Do we?
Are we allowed to rearrange? So we have someone else here.
You can,
Yeah.
absolutely.
you would?
Casey,
Yeah, I can do that.
are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Unless you want to keep it for a slot.
You just want to.
What's that?
Well, up to you.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Please tell us about yourself, your interests, any experience on board, policy boards, and involvement in the community and school activities.
Yeah, so Casey King, I grew up in Quincy. I attended K through 12 in the Quincy School District. After graduation, I attended Washington State University and obtained a degree, bachelor's degree in agriculture economics and business management. Currently, I work for a major global fertilizer producer as a regional sales manager. I've got a passion for seeing kids succeed, and that's kind of played out in a lot of the things I've been involved in. I've had a lot of interactions with the district over the years. One of the big things, the Quincy FFA Alumni Association, I've served on that board since it was founded back in 2012. And to date, we've given back approximately $200,000 in support to the Quincy High School Ag Ed Department. I'm on the Quincy High School CT Ag Advisory Committee. I attended the Profile of a Graduate Workshop. I served on the last School Bond Committee. I represent the Superintendent Advisory Committee for George Elementary. And I'm also part of the George Elementary PBC. And as that suggests, I've got kids. So my wife and I have 3 kids. The oldest is in 2nd grade at George Elementary. We've got a preschooler who will start kindergarten in George next year, and then a 10-month-old at home. So my desire to serve on the board and serve the district really comes from, not just wanting to see my kids succeed, but wanting to help all kids succeed. That's kind of been my life at this point. I want to continue that.
Thank you.
Describe the major strengths of the Quincy School District.
Okay, so I think the school district has a lot of strengths. A couple that stand out to me is that the school district has strong leadership. We've had a strong school board, we've got strong admin, and we've got some very dedicated teachers and staff. The other thing we have going here is the community support, and we see that community support in a lot of different ways. We can look at the booster clubs, whether that's the Sports Boosters Club, the band, the FFA alumni. I mean, there's a ton of generosity and people wanting to give, their time and their money to the students here. We see that in businesses that open their doors to kids coming in field trips and job shadows and showing up at career fairs to support them. We've got community members a lot of community members that serve on a variety of different committees and advisory committees for the school district. And then, everywhere you go in this town, there's a Jackrabbit logo on a wall, on a window, on the sidewalk. I mean, there's one right out here. This community's got a lot of pride in its schools.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Describe the major challenges of the Quincy School District.
Yeah, so every school district has challenges. A couple of those that stand out, was mentioned earlier, is infrastructure. So since the last school bond was ran, Quincy's gained over 1,000 new residents. And we've all see the housing developments going in left and right, and there's another one announced about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So we are growing. The middle school and the high school, I think it was projected that they're going to be at or near 100% capacity by the 28-29 school year. That's coming up. We're looking at, the middle school in Mountain View, right? The report there was that those buildings are in desperate need of replacement. And so we're looking at a bond that could be as much as $185 million. The last bond passed with 64%, and that was pretty incredible. But it was also a lot smaller, right? So, it's going back and relying on that community support to really step up in a big way in the not too distant future. So that is a looming challenge that we have. The other thing I see is, I almost call it more of an opportunity, right? So the American Psychological Association did a study back in 2019, And it was basically grouping a bunch of different studies together. But it encompassed about 480,000 different families. And what they found is that student achievement, social and emotional adjustment, and attendance were heavily influenced by parental involvement in the schools. I know the admin do a great job of trying to get families to come into the school. But I think we can do a better job of communicating the opportunities outside of, family nights and conferences, right? My wife and I, we talk to a lot of people that don't realize that the teachers and staff, they want parents to come in, they want them to observe in the classrooms, have lunch with their kid at school, give their time, volunteer to be at club type meetings and projects during lunch hours. So I think that there's some room for improvement there. I think it's a good way to really have a positive influence on the students.
Describe how your experience, training, and interests can contribute to the improvement of the Quincy School District.
Sure. So when I started my career, I was very much the type of person that thought along the lines of, if you want something done right, you do it yourself, right? So I've come to realize that when you collaborate with people and you empower others to make their own decisions and tough decisions, the quality of the outcomes is often much higher. And that's a trait, that's an attitude that I bring to the board, to this situation. I'm also a fan of creative solutions. An example is looking at what we've done with the FFA alumni group. We go about fundraising in some very unconventional ways. Okay, we operate a farm. We sell produce at FCAT, and that's not that unconventional, but during COVID, we had to get unconventional, right? We pre-sold boxes of mixed produce online and then sat on a curb one day and handed those out as people drove through. So that speaks to not just being creative, but really trying to follow through things. We're even a little different in how we curate the guest list for our auction and banquet, but it's been met with a lot of success. When it comes to my interest in improving the district, I really do want to see all kids succeed. So our children are just starting their journey in the school district, right? They're going to be there a while. And I want them to be safe. I want them to have quality teachers. I want them to have a lot of options for extracurricular activities. I want them to have good lunch choices. And I think those are the types of things that all parents can get behind and all parents want. And what's good for other students is also good for my own kids. But at the end of the day, I'm proud of this community. I'm proud of this district, and I want to be part of serving in a position that allows me to help make this district the gold standard that other districts look at.
Here's my turn.
Yeah. Reverse.
You should go back.
Okay, identify any commitments which might prevent you from attending regular scheduled meetings, participating in workshops, reviewing study materials, or being an active member of the Quincy School District Board.
Sure. So I work from home. I do manage a large area, a couple states. So I travel sporadically, but it's not that much, and Zoom is always available, but I don't foresee that being a big impact. I also spend a lot of time with the Quincy FFA Alumni Association, and that is a position I'm prepared to resign from if I get this position. And they're well set up, so I have no worries there.
Okay,
Any questions for the school board?
I have no questions.
Thanks, sir.
okay, thanks. Dave. I guess.
Still operating too proficient.
We are. We need to return.
So,
10 minutes.
okay,
Our next call Joe and Ms. Torgeson, see if they want to come in early. Does that sound okay?
Also, there you can have more questions.
Oh, no, I'm not applying. I'm just saying, we don't have some time.
Send you up here.
You're gonna take it.
Yeah, that's entertainment purposes. only.
Yes, we want it.
Days for dinner.
Dinner is coming.
Is it?
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Are you sure?
It is.
I was told 9 p.m.
Oh. Oh, right, yeah, cool.
Yeah. But this is from the.
Oh, great. I think I got to the one computer thing. I sent you an email, but I think you were looking at. Yeah. I think. Just make it. I think what it is if you look down here, that's what it is. I think what it is at the end of these various sections, there's a computer. Yeah, and these are actually computer generated checks, is what that is. So there's 74 computers. That's why I look so puzzled, because I was like, we're actually phasing out computers. I'm like, I wonder what. You had to be for there for a second, but I think that's what.
Yeah. Is what I know to read. It's not.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's hard to determine, yeah, it's hard to determine with some of them are. And certainly I don't know the difference between whether it's a computer generated check or an yeah, and that's the total of whether it was manual wire transfer or ACH. So it's a very, honestly, but I looked through it, I was very. There's a reason I'm not an accountant. That memory.
We'll wait for Mr. Gard.
They were here.
Yeah,
Joe will be here at 6:30 and Chris Torgeson's gonna be here at 6:40.
okay.
I hope this can have a little dinner here, so.
Yeah. They have.
Sure.
After different question. You're just gonna.
David, thanks for coming. So we have, you missed the beginning of this, so we have questions that are prescriptive that we're gonna ask you, or I'll take notes. Okay, so you're comfortable with everything, okay? So, please tell us about yourself, your interests, any experience on, policy boards and involvement in the community and school activities.
Okay, yeah, so a little bit about myself, so, I graduated from Quincy, I went through the whole through senior year here. I graduated in 2015, and then, I was also a Running Start student, so I graduated with my AA from Wenatchee Valley at the same time, so. Right after that, I attended Central Washington University, I got my computer science degree there. And then
what?
my computer science degree, a bachelor's, yep, and then, right after that, I started working, so, I was working at a data center in, Wenatchee for about 5 years. And then recently I moved over back to Quincy, and then I'm part of Sony Pictures now here in town, so doing the same thing, yeah, data center work and everything, so. Yeah, that's a little bit, big background, father of two, I have a little 6-month-old, and then, yeah, almost a 3-year-old, so, yeah, 4 boys, so it's been fun, yeah, so. Yeah, interest, spending time with my kids, yeah, so, it sounds, like, the right answer, but it truly is. It truly has been, so, after work, that's all I want to do, just with it and everything, and with my wife, of course, it's just policy boards, overall, I don't have much experience, I'll be, honest about that, no experience with board and everything. But I've just felt that it's important now, especially with my kids growing up, to have a voice in the community, not just with them, for other kids around. But yeah, strongly, I felt the need now with my children, so, kind of be involved, have a voice out there for, how the school district is moving forward. Yeah, and school activities, I want to, be involved in like sports with them too, bringing positive things to kids, that way they grow up in a positive environment and everything, so, yeah. And that was number one, yeah, I think I'm. Pretty much that point, yeah.
That's not an easy.
Yeah.
Please describe for us the major strengths of the Quincy School District.
Okay, so. What I've experienced growing up here, small knit community, right? So, teachers are always, available if you need help. So if you need help with, obviously schoolwork and everything, and then I felt that it goes beyond that, right? So if you have troubles at home or whatever, they are there to help you. So good teachers, and then so yeah, I think that's the majority, and so it's smaller classrooms, I would say too. So kids are seen, I would say, kids are seen, and there's lots of support for sure. So. Yeah.
Describe the major challenges of the Quincy School District.
Again, growing up, that's a tough one. I think you guys did a good job. I had a positive experience, going to school here and everything. Yes, you will see things here and there, with kids in trouble and stuff like that. But I think if you took advantage of the support that the school gave you, you would be successful, right? So if you, do your work and then stay out and everything. So I think the resources are there. could have, you know, I graduated in 2015, you know, have things changed, maybe, you know, and that's why I'm here to kind of see that. So, yeah.
Okay, describe how your experience, training, and interest can contribute to the improvement of the Quincy School District.
Okay, yeah, so, I would kind of, you know, want to emphasize to kids, especially, you know, especially the ones that are about to graduate, the importance, you know, of, you know, higher education for sure. So, for me, I saw, immediate, you know, job opportunities coming out, well paid. And, you know, kind of emphasize that to them that, you know, higher education will be important, you know, make sure you get, you know, good grades your high school years to get that, you know, either scholarships or, you know, just, you know, make things go smoother, I guess, financially, and then, getting set to programs that you want to be in, stuff like that. So, based on my background, you know, I would recommend something like, you know, starting in high school, like be ready for maybe, you know, college courses, running start with, you know, I would strongly encourage running start to them. I don't know why kids don't, you know, take advantage of it. They want to take, you know, advantage of the high school experience, but I would strongly, you know, recommend that for them. And then, sports, I think sports is really important, you know, to kind of keep them busy, occupied. So, I was, you know, involved in soccer, boxing growing up and everything. So I would emphasize, you know, sports or having, you know, maintaining them busy. And then, you know, for smaller kids, I would say it goes beyond, you know, just kind of, so, you know, not everyone's blessed, I would say, with a family or a tight-knit family and all that stuff. So, I would try to, you know, do whatever I can to be able to provide that for them if I can, right? So, or provide a distraction or something along that line. So, you know, I think family is really important. So, which is why I want to do this for my kids. That way, you know, they have, you know, either they can either support kids that aren't as fortunate and stuff like that. So, yeah, they don't steer off the wrong path and everything. So yeah, so family would be very important for the younger generation, like the younger kids. And then for the older ones, you know, emphasize to stay off track and, you know, start doing college courses along those lines, yeah.
And identify any commitments which might prevent you from attending regularly scheduled meetings, participating in workshops, reviewing study materials, or being an active member of the Quincy School District Board of Directors.
I think my job is really flexible right now. So, you know, if I need some time off or I can get out early, requesting time off and everything. So I think that should be no issues there. So with regular meetings and everything, I think I should be able to attend most of them. Study materials, I can do it at work too, since we're slow. So I can do it there. So that shouldn't be an issue. Yeah. So,
There are a lot of study
Oh,
materials.
is it? I have a lot of free time at
Okay.
work, so we should
A
be,
lot of homework.
we should be good. Yeah, we have periods of being really busy, but then it's like sometimes an hour or two, so.
So,
I'm sorry, do you have any questions for the board?
I guess my biggest one was, I saw that it was, a year, 2025. So is that accurate or,
Yeah, so you fill out the rest of Tricia's term, who left, and then you would rerun for the following term.
Okay.
If you chose to.
okay,
So
okay.
this would be the fill-in year, so we have a
Oh, I see.
5-member.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
You would have to file for the election.
For the loan?
Yeah.
But I would be eligible, I
You would
guess,
be
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, okay. Cause that was my concern, I was like, okay, if it's, is it worth it for a year right now, or should I just wait later on? But if it's, okay, makes sense.
well, it'll help you get in. Through
Yep.
how to operate.
Agree.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for
Yeah,
coming.
yeah, I appreciate your guys' time, so thank you.
I think dinner's here. Dinner is here too.
We're still missing.
Yeah, Joe will be here at 6:30, and then Chris will be here at 6:40.
Okay.
So we'll be able to get those two and go into executive session and talk it out. So I think if you guys want to get there next door, we can do that. So we got a little break.
Okay.
They're invited.
Yeah. Or do you guys eat first, and then we'll decide. You guys eat first. And how's your day? What?
I don't even know sometimes.
You don't even know? That good or bad? I sometimes walk out and I didn't eat lunch. I like thought I did, but
I went in at 8 and I came out at 4:30. I'm like, wow, that was it, huh?
I.
Fully ran and just got things done,
That
but
can be great sometimes.
no, I need to take breaks for sure.
Are you?
Worst day of the day is when you get there in the dark and you leave.
I tried some things, but they're soon upon.
Yeah, exactly.
For
I
sure.
experienced it in summer, not living that much.
Are you still doing a lot of Zoom meetings?
They moved to Teams, but yeah.
See, that's what I found, like, when we were doing the Zooms, it was just, there was no breaks. It was just one solid day, and it just, all of a sudden, you have like a little bit of break to go eat, maybe fly back, and you're back in.
Yeah.
That would, I would leave those days way more time. Like, in person.
It's just like, have my computer charged, so I like leave at least my office, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like tomorrow's meeting, I'm not gonna be able to make it. in
Well,
person.
bummer.
Someone just go.
I've never been in the hospital. Yeah. Have you ever been? Did you?
I mean,
A new building here?
No. but-
What?
No.
Better go now. Yeah.
It's, you start welding it. So it's just, it's destroyed. No. And I think it kind of
Good. So,
takes longer and more about, like, space. So, like sometimes.
I feel it will stay recording and then you get down later.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just basically what ends up happening is it'll stop recording once you go into executive session.
So,
And then essentially, after you get out of the stuff, then we'll unpause it and then we'll go back. Yeah, it's.
I appreciate what you do.
Oh, no, it's no problem. I'm sorry. Food? Somebody say food.
And then tomorrow, when I grab
That's
some
good.
food, we'll grab dessert. I'll stick. Thank you.
You're first. You
We're
want to
moving
start?
out.
with
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let me get myself ready here. Mr. Harris, please tell us about yourself, your interests, any experience on policy boards and involvement in community and school activities.
So my name's Joe Harris, for those of you that don't know or don't know me. Lived in Grant County now since 2001. I grew up in the military. My dad was career Air Force. I grew up on military bases. Joined the Marines when I was 17 and I'm out of high school and moved around. So I never really had a home, but my parents are from Washington originally. Then when my dad retired, he ended up in the George area. And so when I got out of the Marines in 2001, wherever my parents were was home. So that's what brought me here. When I got out in 2001, started my career in law enforcement here in the city of Quincy, 2001 to 2006. And then went to the Grant County Sheriff's Office from 2006 to 2015. 2015, I took a job at the AG's office in Seattle doing civil rights investigations. I was there for about a year, and then 2016-ish, I took over as the police chief in the city of Mattawa. I was there for about 5 years, retired, and throughout that time, I've lived all over Grant County. I've lived in Quincy. I currently live in the George area. I've lived in Moses Lake, Ephrata, Warden, Mattawa. I think the only place I haven't lived at the central and south county is Wosek. But I've been all over the county. Where was I? Oh, yeah, so, 2016, I retired from law enforcement. Started kind of looking around, see what I wanted to do. I ran for sheriff in 2022. Obviously didn't get that because I'm sitting here. But I learned a lot about, politics. I learned a lot about the communities, the county in general. It was really, really cool experience to be able to go around different parts of the county and sit down and have a cup of coffee with people and hear what was really on their minds. It's surprising to see how different what was on everybody's mind was from what comes out in the papers and the general press. It was pretty eye-opening. And it was also really interesting and heartwarming to see that there are a lot of places that everybody agrees on, regardless of what your political affiliation may or may not be. There are a lot of basic things that everybody thinks are important that everybody agrees on. So on one hand, it was a very frustrating and arduous experience. On the other hand, it was also very eye-opening in a good sense, that it kind of restored my faith a little bit in the system and in humanity in general. Because what you see in the press, especially when you're talking politics, is very rarely the good side of it. It's almost always the bad side. Experience on policy boards, as I was, especially as a police chief, I was involved in a lot of policy boards. City of Mattawa didn't have a city manager or city administrator, so I kind of wore both hats. I did a lot of work with the school district. I worked with DJ quite a bit when I was there. Did a lot of work with the Port District, with the community of Desert Air, with the hospital district. We had a lot of really strong collaborative efforts amongst a lot of our public agencies in the area. Did some collaborative work with Big Bend. It was really fun experience, and got a lot of exposure and experience to managing policy boards. And everybody has their own interest in playing, right? Everybody's looking for a piece of the pie, and everybody wants a bigger piece. And bringing everybody together and kind of figuring out as a group where those pie pieces need to go was really neat. Involvement in the community and school activities. I've been living in the area for a long time, but it's I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because work and family life and everything. Kind of living out in the country isn't real conducive to spending a lot of time inside the city. But active and. Well, I know I'm active in the communities, maybe just not in a very overt way, or kind of a quiet way. I know a lot of people, talk to a lot of people. I'm involved in a lot of things, kind of not looking for a lot of attention. I'm just trying to do my best to have an impact on things.
Describe the major strengths of the Quincy School District.
I think there's a couple of them. Community involvement. That's one thing, especially when I moved to Washington. Listen, I grew up and moved all over the place. And to see how involved the community is in the school district is really, really cool. I've been a lot of places in the world, but that's not the case. And, it's kind of reminiscent of like, the stereotypical thought about Texas, on Friday night, they shut the whole city down for a football game, which is true. I used to live in Texas. But to see that same kind of thing here, I think that's a huge strength. Because if your community is not involved in the school, then I think that's indicative of a lot of other deeper problems. Our kids are a few.
Be heard. Okay, we're gonna start the video. We're unmuted.
Well, Rotary, he's the president of Rotary. I can't go as far as big Jack. Right.
Session's over and our.
Back in regular session.
Is Sean ready? Are we
Sean?
ready?
I am recording. We are unmuted. I think we're good to go.
And then you'll be asking for a motion.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I motion to nominate Casey Keene for the Quincy School District Director #1 position.
I have a second.
A second.
Okay, the motion and second, so this is a roll call vote. So, President Keen, yea or nay?
Yeah,
Lauer,
Yay.
Durfee,
Yeah.
Ruiz,
Yay.
Four yeas. Congratulations. Thank you.
see you then.
Looking forward to it.
Huh?
And awesome. Just,
Austin, thank you so much for your time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
thank you
do
very
thank
much.
you, Austin,
Really
for coming.
appreciate it.
In fact, you guys were too tough.
We appreciate it.
Or it would have ended a lot sooner.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My gals.
Are we done?
Nope,
No, they're
So,
not done.
do we have more to?
No, we
No.
don't.
Oh, okay.
Gals out, President,
Oh, yay.
Presidenta.
Oh.
All right, there we go.
Give